Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lee. Welcome back to Barum Engines. Right, so I'm having a bit of a morning of soda blasting. Here's our little soda blasting pot. So what we do, we fill this up to the top and then we screw this into it and we go outside and make ourselves the abominable snowman. So what I've got to soda blast today is the ports on two Volkswagen 20 valve cylinder heads. And these are pretty trick heads, both for different customers. But they've got the Supertech valves and what have you to go in it, new guides. So here's the head, and what we want to do is we want to blast the combustion chamber and down into the ports. So what we do, we plug our soda pot into the airline, and it's basically the nozzle is what governs the amount that comes out and mixes with the air. It's a total loss system, so it sort of is a little bit expensive to do. As you can see around here, this is where we generally do it, but it does dissolve in the rain, so when we have a good downpour of rain, all this will be washed away. But the problem is with this is because it's a sort of total loss and there is no cabinet or anything, it basically, you do tend to get covered in it and it's a bit nasty. So what I try and do is do it with stick it on this tub here and do it with the wind behind me, and then it sort of just blows away. And what I'll do is I'll do the ports that are away from me, so it goes down the port and away with the wind. If you do them with this, it just blows. If you do the ones nearer to you, it just blows straight back at you and you end up absolutely covered. So what I'm going to do is just do half, the back half of that combustion chamber and down the inlet ports, and then we'll turn it around and do the inside. So there you can see how clean that gets it. And inside that port, you might miss a few areas, but what we do, just go over it afterwards. In some respects it's quite therapeutic, this, because you're getting a sort of instant result. So as you can see, guys, I've done this head, just turned it over and done the back where all the buckets and the cams go. That was pretty grotty in there, but that's all looking quite nice now. Now I'm just going to talk quietly because Isaac's in the workshop and I'm giving him a bit of a lesson on how to hone blocks. So you can see him down there at the back of the workshop. Basically I've given him this 20 valve block that's got to be bored out 2mm with competition pistons. I've given him a lesson on boring. He's managed to bore it himself and he's faced it himself, and now I'm teaching him to hone. So we'll just head on down there and I'll show you how he's getting on. He's getting on really well, but I don't want to disturb his concentration. So here he is. Right, mate, how you getting on?
Yeah, good. Just learning a bit of honing. Getting there.
So that's it, yeah, it's just feel, really. Just remember, you can never put it back in, but you can always take it out. So yeah, there we go. Doing really well. So yeah, as I say, I won't disturb him just yet because he's in deep concentration, and that is it's the most important part of machining a block, really. So yeah, really happy with him. As I say, it's quite refreshing, really, to have someone that you sort of tell them once or twice. Obviously, with a lot of our machines, a bit like anything, there's no dead set rule with it. You can sort of show them how to use the machine, the little traits and the backlashes and the tolerances of the machine, and then it's just a case of doing it and getting the feel of it, really. But no, really happy with him. As I say, he's machined that block himself, he's refaced the top, he's bored it, now he's honing it. Can't ask more than that, really. Good lad. So as we can see, I've got new guides to go in this head. This is the first one that we've got to do. So we've got new guides, we've got new valve springs and tops, new valves obviously, So this is all super tech trick stuff. First of all, I've got to get the guides out of this head. So there's no easier way. We've got a dolly here and we just wallop the guides out. But when we put the new ones in, we obviously heat the head and put them in that way, and they go in a bit easier and they come out, to be honest. Yeah, so what I've told Isaac is timescale is not a factor on that really, just take as long as you want. That machine really, you can sort of only teach them the basics of how to work it, but then it's all to do with feel. I said don't do too much because obviously you can't put material back in, so it's just a case of putting the cut on, getting the feel of the cut, doing the strokes from top to bottom, and then stopping, measuring it and seeing how much you're taking out every time, and then you just eventually learn how much to put on a cut, what it feels like, takes X amount. So as I say, there's no rush. If he takes all afternoon to do one bore, that's absolutely fine. He's managed to get it to 0 from top to bottom, and that's great. But what starts to happen eventually is, I've told him that you end up, the stones wear either the top or the bottom, and they end up taking, when you measure it, you sort of could be about half a thou, say, tight on the bottom as opposed to the top. Then you've got to either dress the stones or start taking, or both, or start taking a sort of more of a cut at the bottom and the middle to the top. And that's all, again, that's just feel and getting used to the machine. So yeah, he's doing really well. On this one, we're going to be running half a thou over the bore size because it's competition. So that, I've had to explain that to him. But yeah, he's doing really, really well. Really happy with him. So we've got the air filter in here, K&N type. We've got the pipe work that goes down into the inlet, and this is some sort of homemade load of crap really. Looks like an old silencer to me, and that goes on our carburetors, but as you can imagine, it's not really doing a great deal. There's big old gaps where they've siliconed them ends into that silencer. It looks terrible. So what I've done is I've ordered some ram air filters to stick on the end of the trumpets. Let me just show you. So we've gone for the ram air, what they call socks. So these just go straight over the existing trumpets on the carburetors, and that's all you need. So these were £30 for the pair. They fit straight under the bonnet, no problem at all, and they sound absolutely unreal. I know that I'm going to get loads of comments off you guys saying how it affects the performance and how the length of the trumpets affect the performance and all this, that, the other, and it's going to kill your bottom end or your top end. But to be honest with you, I couldn't care less. Listen to this. About that sound, as I say, it don't really matter about the performance, it sounds nuts. I've actually took it out for a little spin and it's no different to before, to be honest, because I don't think the filter was doing a great deal before. So yeah, well happy about that investment. We've almost got the guides out of this. We've got all the inlet guides. Now these 20 valve Volkswagen heads are a little bit confusing because generally on a cylinder head the inlet valve is bigger than the exhaust, but on this, because you've got 5 valves per cylinder, you've got 3 inlet, 2 exhaust. So the inlets are actually smaller than the exhaust, so it's quite easy to get confused with that. But anyway, we've got the inlet guides out, just in the process of getting the exhaust out. But I'm just going to quickly show you over here. This is the other 20 valve head. We haven't got to replace the guides in this because they're absolutely perfect. And we've got SuperTech valves to go in. So these are the valves. Really nice looking item. And basically all I've got to do is cut the 3-face seats into the seats. So you see the original is just a straight 45. So what we're doing is, you see that we've done those 2 there. You've got the 3 faces, and this is the cutter. Right, today's rank, guys, might seem a little bit irrelevant to you, but it's actually not, and it's actually become quite a big part of our business. Especially since Christmas, or since the YouTube channel's been going, the courier services and the pallet services are extremely important to us. As you guys who watch the videos may know, that quite a lot of our stuff comes from away and comes from outside Devon. So, you know, and as we sort of have moved more into doing complete engines as opposed to cylinder heads and what have you, the pallet services are very important to us. So we've been using a certain pallet service, and up until now, not really much of a problem. Might have the odd day where they're late. This particular incident has just done my head in as that much that I'm gonna have to do a video on it. So 2 weeks ago on the Friday, I organised for a pallet to be picked up. It was a Cosworth engine on it from a customer, and I organised it for, I think it was I organised it on the Thursday for the Friday. Now the customer, it was being picked up from a residential home. He was going to stay in all day, work from home, and wait for it. The only trouble I had was the only time slot they give you is between 9:30 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So not a lot of help if you know, unless you stay in all day really. So that's what he did. Anyway, he got in touch with me at the end of the day and said the pallet hasn't been picked up. So I reorganised it on the Monday for the Wednesday. Now I agreed with the customer, I apologised profusely. I said, look, he said, well, I can stay in Wednesday again and work from home. So I organised it with this service for the Wednesday. Yet again, Wednesday came, Wednesday afternoon came, didn't pick it up. So of course I was furious. So I then rang them straight up and said, you know, obviously I'm not happy. And they said, oh, we're really sorry about that. We can arrange it for whenever you want. So obviously I spoke to the customer and he said, look, it's getting a bit of a joke. So this has really put us off on a bad start straight away. And this is potentially, you know, a few £1,000s worth of job. We then reorganised it for the Tuesday just gone. The customer said, look, one last time, but this time I can do it from down the road. So 2 doors away is an old people's home. I can get it picked up from there. So I said, right, okay, one last chance. So I organised it with the courier service for the Wednesday this week. We're now on a week and a half down the line. And they said, yeah, it will be there. No trouble at all. So he stayed home once again. It got to 3:30 in the afternoon and he said, they still haven't turned up. I said, right, I'll get on to them. So I rang them up and I said, are you going to turn up? Because it's 3:30. He said, he will be there between 4:30 and 5:30. Well, sure enough, he messaged me in the evening, didn't turn up. Absolutely mind-boggling. I've got on to him the next morning, first thing. He couldn't tell me why they hadn't turned up, the same as he didn't the last 2 times. And he said, let me go and speak to him. It's scheduled for this morning. And I said, well, what happened to yesterday? It said that it was going to be there between 9:30 and 5 o'clock. You told me then in the afternoon it was 4:30 to 5:30. Didn't turn up. He said, yeah, it's scheduled for this morning. I said, well, I'll tell you what, cancel it. I'm going to get the customer to organise his own until I come up with a better plan. And, you know, I can only apologise. I said, but I want a refund. I want it cancelled. Yeah, that's fine. Done that. Lo and behold, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a driver rings me up and says, I'm outside this home. I said, I've rang up this morning and cancelled. You were meant to turn up yesterday. He said, oh, this is the trouble. We never get told. I'm really sorry. You know, he was very apologetic, but just could not believe it. Couldn't believe it. The guy has organised it for himself. He's organised it himself. It will be a Tuesday, but I can only apologise. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's no good to us. And as I say, courier services now and the pallet services are a major part for us. You know, it's the first bit of the communication and the relationship with the customer, and it needs to go right. So fortunately, I had a meeting this morning with a guy that owns In Express. There's his card. Mark, his name is Mark Pell, lovely bloke. And basically I can get pallets and parcels, anything I can sort out through my portal on here. I can speak to him direct, so I get to speak to a human. And it's not only that, but it's a human that has empathy and as your interests are, not just the money. So yeah, might not seem a great deal to you guys, but this is a major part of our business now, and it needs to be right. It needs to go smoothly. So yeah, thank you very much, Mark. Let's see what happens. Well, thanks ever so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, comment down below what you think about today's rant, and we'll see you in another video. Have a great weekend. Cheers, guys.